Well, good afternoon, everybody. I want to thank you all very much for coming. This is not an occasion that any of us obviously looks forward to. In fact, why don't we start with a moment of silence for Marion Barry, Mayor Barry, Councilmember Barry, President of the Board of Education Barry. Had every title that there was in the District of Columbia, did them all well. So let's have a moment of silence, please. All right, thank you all very much. We are here to announce the details, and there'll be more coming as the next 7 to 9 days unfold. The details of the celebration of the life and the legacy of Marion Barry Jr., who devoted so many years of service to the city that he loved, and I think we all know did it with extraordinary skill and commitment. I think it's safe to say there'll never be another Marion Barry. He was just that unique. He was just that powerful. He was that visionary. Whatever adjectives one wants to use and the superlatives one wants to use, they certainly are not overstated in the life and legacy of Marion. I'm here with Chairman Phil Mendelson, who you will hear from shortly, Ramon Bain, who is the spokeswoman for the Barry family, and Sheba Haley, who is the coordinator for the celebration. And you will hear from all of them in just a few minutes. I do want to acknowledge that we have two of our council members here, Councilmember Vincent Orange, at-large member of the Council of the District of Columbia, who knew Marion extremely well. And I see Councilmember Tommy Wells having just come in also, who I know knew Mayor Barry for many years, probably close to 30 years, right, Tommy? So thank you all very much for coming as well. In addition to his service as a leader here in the District of Columbia, he also was a leader on the front lines of the civil rights movement and made an enormous impact fighting for people who really found it very difficult to fight effectively for themselves. So it is more than appropriate that we come together as a city to be able to celebrate his legacy and to allow the tens of thousands who revered Marion Barry to be able to have a chance to say goodbye to him in a fitting way. The celebration of life will begin a week from tomorrow, Thursday, December 4th, and will run through Saturday. You'll hear more of the details shortly. He will be here at the Wilson Building on Thursday. And then there will be a service at the Temple of Praise in Ward 8 on Friday. And then the funeral service itself will be at the Washington Convention Center on Saturday. With that having been said, let me ask Chairman Mendelson if he would come up and say a few words, then Ramon, and then Sheba to come up and say a few words.
Thank you, Mayor Gray, and good morning or good afternoon to everyone here. Most people don't realize this, but Marion Barry was a member of the council as long as he was mayor of the District of Columbia, which is 16 years. 16 years as mayor, 16 years on the council, including his service on the council during the first two periods of the council following the advent of home rule. And he also was the author of significant legislation over the course of all those years. His passing is hard on the institution. He was a colleague of each of us. And I would say that each of us learned from Marion Barry, working with him, working side by side with Marion Barry, and also sometimes working against him, depending upon the issue. We learned from his advocacy and his skill, his instinct. And so the council is proud, if one can be proud when we're talking about a homegoing, but we're proud to play a part in the celebration of his life. The council's involvement with the 3 days will start with next Thursday, when his body will be received at the Wilson Building and will lay in state for 24 hours. There will be a small ceremony, and when I say small, I don't mean closed, but there'll be a small ceremony receiving his body in the Wilson Building. And the building will be open for 24 hours so that members of the public who wish can come by and view the casket. This week, we have a condolence book that's available. It's available today until 5:30 p.m., and it will be available on Friday from 9 a.m. until 5:30 p.m., and that's the first floor as one comes in the front doors of the Wilson Building. And then, of course, we will be playing a part in the other events that are part of marking the celebration of his life and his homegoing. As I say, even though it's not something that one is enthusiastic about, it, we are proud that we are a part of this celebration. Thank you.
We're going to ask Ramon if she would come up now. I know she's speaking for Cora and Christopher as well. And I've spent hours with Cora. She's really invested her heart, everything she has, in trying to make this the most appropriate and the best possible celebration of Marion's life. And I'm sure I know why she's not here today. This will be pretty tough on her. So, Ramon, thank you for coming to speak on behalf of her and the family.
Thank you, Mayor Gray, Mr. Mendelson, ladies and gentlemen, members of the press. I'm honored to be here to speak on behalf of the Barry family, and I've been honored to work for Mr. Barry in various capacities, most recently as the publicist for his book. I wanted to take a little time to share with you what the concept of the tribute to him will be for the 3 days that we will be memorializing him. In developing the concept for her husband's tribute, which we are calling the District of Columbia Celebration of the Journey of Mayor for Life, Marion Barry Jr., Mrs. Barry and his son Christopher wanted to reflect his 52 years of public service, his dedication and involvement in the civil rights movement. And what not many people are aware of is that Mr. Barry was the very first chairman of SNCC, the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee. They're also taking into consideration his 16 years as mayor, 16 years as councilman, and she is trying to reflect and tell the entire breadth of his life, which is a yeoman's job. She is going to also reflect on and focus on what he has been spending the last 6 months in doing, and that is being an author. Beginning in June of this year, he traveled around this city and the country, sharing his life's journey and his life's work in his book, Mayor for Life, The Incredible Story of Marion Barry Jr. Well, one of the things that Mrs. Barry and Christopher are trying to reflect and show is that incredible life of the Mayor for Life, Marion Barry Jr. She and Christopher thanks you for your love, your support, and your prayers, and are asking that you continue to keep them in your prayers as they move on with this journey of showing the incredible life of Marion Barry Jr. Now I am going to introduce to you our funeral coordinator, Ms. Sheba Haley.
Good afternoon, everyone. Hello, my name is Sheba Freeman Haley, and I have the honor to work along with the committee and with Mrs. Berry to put together the 3-day program and services. As you were told, I'll give you a little detail on each one as much as we have available now. Thursday, December 4th, it's from 9 a.m. to 9 a.m., 24 hours. You will lie and repose here at the building here at the Wilson Building, and it is open, like I said, to the public. Also, in the morning on Friday, December 5th, we will start the citywide processional, and we will travel with his remains to Southeast, but we will go through all 8 wards, ending in Southeast at the Temple of Praise. And the time for that probably will be we're working out the details, but it'll happen in the morning, hoping to land at the Temple of Praise around 3 o'clock. At that time, there will be a special service for seniors and musical service that will just be for them, and that we will be working with Department of Parks and Recreation to bus in the seniors for that program. Then the rest of the community program at Temple of Praise will be from 6 to 9, open to the general public there at Temple of Praise. On Saturday, December 6th, we'll be at the Washington Convention Center in halls D and E, and there will be viewing starting at 8 a.m., 8 a.m. to 11 a.m., and then the program will be from 11 a.m. The burial is private. Are there any questions? Sorry, Saturday? Saturday, December 6th. Saturday, December 6th.
Why don't we,
So I'll go again.
did you have more you wanted to say? Just open it up for everybody. Hold on 1 second.
Okay. Are we clear on the dates? Okay, so Thursday, December 5th, 4th, Thursday, December 4th, Friday, December 5th, Saturday, December 6th. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, 4, 5, and 6. Thank you.
All right, let's open it up for questions from the media. I want to acknowledge that we've been just been joined by Councilmember Jim Graham as well, who represents Ward 1 in the city, and who as well worked with Mayor Barry for many years. Thank you, Jim, for coming. You got the first.
Okay, thank you. I'm glad, Sheba, that you mentioned that the mayor would be going through all 8 wards of the city, which is very important. Do you have the route for the, so if he's coming up Georgia Avenue, we want to know now. Right. Or where is he going to be, because we want to make sure that people are there.
Yeah, it has, all those details are still being worked on, right, Sheba? And it will be announced. People will know, because that will be on Friday, and that information will be out in significant detail, so people will be able to follow it, in whatever way they would choose to. I think if we start announcing it now, we may leave something out. So let's wait until we have it all.
Another question is, people want to know, is there any one of the days that the district government, as well as the DC Public Schools, will be closed?
No. We are giving administrative leave, though, for people on Thursday to be able to, 2 hours of administrative leave for employees of the district government to be able to come and visit with Mr. Barry here. Mike?
I guess Raymond is probably the best person to answer this, but can you say to what extent Mayor Barry made his wishes for this time, this celebration known before his passing, and to what extent that's been able to be abided by?
Well, if you recall, in the early part of this year, in January, Mr. Barry was extremely sick at Washington Hospital Center with a blood disease. And at that time, he didn't know whether he would be able to leave the hospital or whether he would transition. So it was very wise to leave for Mrs. Barry some instructions and directives. And he pretty much gave a outline of what he would like to see at his homegoing. So she is working very diligently to do that. It's been extremely difficult because when someone leaves directives and you're in shock and you are mourning the lost, it's very difficult to look down on a piece of paper and try to move forward without becoming very emotional. And so it has been extremely difficult for her, but just rest assured that every directive that he has given her, she is going to meet. And this was a shock this time. He did not leave any directives. That was back in January of this year.
Are we privy to any of the names of the dignitaries and celebrities who may be coming to Washington, D.C.?
Well, there are quite a few, but we are going to be announcing that later. We are in the process of confirming all of the speakers, but we will be sending out an extensive press release regarding all of that information. And more than likely, we'll be sending out more than one release to keep you all in the loop as to what's going on. Sam?
Lies in repose up here. Is that going to be a viewing or is it going to be closed casket? I'm just curious.
No, it's not, Sam. I was talking to Chairman Mendelson about whether it's a law. It really isn't. It's a custom. But to my knowledge, there never has been a viewing in the building, and it won't be one. There will be opportunities, though, over the 3 days for a viewing, but not here in the building. Tom?
Directive. I know that would have been an emotional moment in the hospital when you were talking about it just now, but what was there any one thing that he said he really wanted? Was it like to touch all 8 wards? Was it to?
Well, it's one of the things.
The characterization.
Well, you know, as I've been out here with him more these last 5 or 6 months, Marion Barry was very methodical. And in speaking about his book, he told the story of his early days in Ittabita, Mississippi, the journey from coming a couple of hours away from getting his dissertation in chemistry, of which his PhD in chemistry, because all he had to do was turn in his dissertation, but the civil rights movement called him. So in leaving the directive for Mrs. Barry, he talks about his childhood, his journey from being at University of Tennessee, the only black student among 3,000. Not many people know that. And then his years with Pride, his years on the DC Council, his years in the Civil Rights Movement and as mayor and as council member. She has a yeoman's task, but he was extremely methodical in incorporating in his directives those persons whose lives he had touched and met during that journey. And she is in the process of contacting them.
Martin?
Well, given Mr. Barry's extensive history in government, both as mayor and in the council, were there any plans or directives from him on what to do with his papers, all the things that reflect his legacy?
No, I didn't get any from him. I don't know that anybody else did, but I think it's suffice it to say that those things that can be made available to people, there will be a lot of people who will study the life of Marion Barry, and we want to do that in a way that makes those documents as accessible as possible. I frankly think, to go back to what Ramon was saying about how methodical he was, I think that book was designed to be able to chronicle from his perspective much of his life. And while it doesn't have every detail in it, because that's almost impossible, it will lead you in lots of directions about better knowing the life of Marion Barry. So those details haven't been worked out, but perhaps in several university libraries here in the District of Columbia. Matt?
Mr. Mayor, did he actually tell you what plans he'd like carried out? I know you were with him at the hospital late one night. You missed a debate, I think, that evening. Did he talk to you that night about how he wanted to be remembered?
Not in great detail. You're talking about the night when we thought, yeah, I was there until 2 o'clock in the morning. For those who remember, I skipped the debate that night because I wanted to be with him. That was an interesting experience for me, not only being with Marion, but just the reaction to that by at least one person in another area of the city. But no, that really isn't what we talked about. What we talked about was, him being able to get to a point where he could leave. When I got there, he was in the ICU. And I really think that he thought that, the end was in sight. And then I went with him from the ICU to a room, and it was just amazing to watch him rally. That was Marion Barry. He just fought until he got to a point where I think a lot of people might not have made it through the night. And we talked more about him, getting to the next place rather than what would happen if he didn't make it through the night or the next day. Lou?
I was wondering if it was said that the final burial will be private. Could something be said about the final resting place and whether there will be a memorial site for the public to?
I think we want to respect the family in that regard, Lou. So I'd rather not talk about the details of this at this stage. But there certainly will be a fitting memorial. That will be the final, decision. Final decision will be of, of Cora and Christopher and other family members. And I think it would really be inappropriate for us to start to speculate about that or talk about where that would be. That would be their decision to be able to announce. Mike?
In terms of the Saturday memorial service, is there a particular number of people that you are planning to accommodate or you will be able to accommodate?
I don't know. I can't imagine the number. It would be tens of thousands of people who I think will want to come to this. It was interesting. I was talking to Mark Morial, the former mayor of New Orleans, yesterday, and he, of course, is the president of the Urban League. And we spent time talking. He was telling me that, which I didn't know, that Mayor Barry was elected to his first term the same year that his father was elected mayor of New Orleans. And he talked about being here in the city. He was in law school at Georgetown University, and how he spent so much time with Mayor Barry. There are so many people that Marion Barry touched. We'll never know. We'll never know everybody that he touched. And I say that simply to say that I don't know that we have a place that would accommodate everybody who wants to be a part of this. The convention center is probably the most fitting place that we have at this stage. It will accommodate thousands, and there will be thousands who will want to participate. It's already amazing. I was talking to Councilmember Orange the other day. The number of suggestions, which we won't announce any of those yet, about how to memorialize Mayor Barry in the District of Columbia. In 3 days, it's just pretty amazing. Valencia and then Tom.
Yeah. One last question for me. A lot of African Americans are wondering whether or not President Barack Obama has reached out to the family or to the district government in reference to the passing of the mayor, because during Barack Obama's tenure, for us, he hasn't really reached out to Marion Barry or to you in the way that we would like. So could you tell us whether or not they've sent any words of condolence? Have they done anything?
Yes, they issued a statement. The president himself issued a statement that we can reissue ourselves so that everybody can get to see it. And he did that within hours of Mayor Barry having passed. I was at the DNC with Mayor Barry in Denver, and I was sitting with him when Obama was nominated. And what an amazing impact that had on him. He saw everything he had stood for and everything that he had tried to do, having now been embodied in this first African-American man being nominated to be the president of the United States. And, again, he and I were sitting there together, and it was wonderful to be able to talk to him about what his feelings were at that stage about that moment.
But he hasn't confirmed any appearances, does
No, it's just a statement, yeah. And obviously, we would love to have him there. And it would be wonderful to hear from him about how, what Mayor Barry did paved the way, laid the foundation for what he was able to do, which many of us thought we'd never see in our lifetime, and that is an African-American be the President of the United States. Bruce? Okay.
You know how the tabloids or the national media portraying Marion Barry, all they know, this the hotel, crack cocaine, that sort of thing. Mr. Mayor, what is the word you want to go out? What is the image? What do you want people outside of the district who knew all sides of Marion Barry? What do you want to say to those people? What do you want them to know about Marion Barry?
I want them to know what an incredible leader Marion was, and what a self-sacrificing person Marion was. I refuse to get into those other issues. I'm not going to denigrate the memory of Marion Barry with discussions about other things that could possibly be brought up. And I frankly hope that other people will leave that out as well. That is not who Marion Barry was. We know who Marion Barry was, and we should focus on his enormous contributions to especially the life of people who didn't have the wherewithal, for whatever reasons, to fight effectively for themselves. That's who Marion Barry was, and I would hope that those who want to talk about him, if they want to get into that other stuff, I wish they would refrain, and I wish they would go somewhere else if that's all they have to talk about.
Council Chairman to also respond to that. Mr. Mendelson, no doubt have seen TMZ or heard about it, and how others are, want to concentrate on, that one chapter in Marion Barry's life. What do you say to all that? What do you want people to know and remember about Marion Barry?
Well, first, my response is to focus on the positive. And second, it's obvious from the tremendous citizen outpouring over the last several days, Marion Barry was an important civic leader in the life of Washington, D.C. He was an important civic leader in the period immediately after Home Rule and the 40 years since. He was also important in other ways before he even came to Washington, such as SNCC. And that he was, as a leader on issues, especially to those who felt that they were voiceless and that the government was not hearing them or responsive to them. That's what I would say.
And I'd like to do one more thing on behalf of Mrs. Barry. I see members of Mr. Barry's staff here, his Chief of Staff, Charles Lindsay, his Director of Communications, LaToya Foster. Let's give them a hand. There are also two board members from Mr. Barry's foundation, the Marion Barry Kim Dickens Kidney Foundation, Mr. John Kimria and Mr. Charles Moreland. Let's give them a hand. The Barry family would like to thank all of you for your continuous love and support of Mr. Barry. Thank you so much.
I know, Tom, you're going to get the last question. By the way, Ramon mentioned Kim Dickens, who was his kidney donor. Yes. And that, saved his life physically at that point, because that was getting into a pretty desperate situation also. And I don't know if you all have ever heard the story, but, it's one of those amazing things where Mr. Barry was telling me that he was in a particular place and got into this conversation about needing a kidney donor, and that Kim said that she didn't know whether she would be a match or not, but she was willing to do it. And it turned out that she was a perfect match, and donated her kidney, and of course added more years to the life of Mayor Barry. Tom.
Two quick questions. One, this will require a great deal of police coordination. I presume Chief Lanier or her staff is already involved. Chief Lanier's involved, I presume that the
Absolutely.
police will be needed.
Absolutely.
But also, what about the former mayors, Mayor Pratt, Mayor Williams? I haven't quite heard from Adrian Finty yet. Would there be a role maybe in the service on Saturday?
Absolutely. You know, I can't imagine any mayor of this city not wanting to be able to speak on behalf of, you know, of Mayor Barry. You know, we initially talked about the service being 4 hours. That's probably the intro. I just already the number of people who I've heard from who want to speak. That's one of the reasons why Mrs. Barry, you know, it has been strongly expressed the sentiment of having the service that will be held on Friday, because that will give people a chance to speak who otherwise might not be able to do that the next day. So I don't have any doubt at the end of the day that there will be such a lengthy list of people who want to be able to speak that we either won't be able to accommodate all of them, or we all will need to take 2 weeks off to be able to be a part of that. Thank you all very much. You want to say something else, Chief?
Yes, thank you. I just wanted to just say to with that comment that, again, we are working with directives that came from Mr. Barry, and so they were rather detailed, and so that includes quite a few names of people that he is interested in participating. So as Ms. Barry works through that, what you'll see is what he requested, as close as we can get to it. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, really quickly, I don't think you really summed up what this all is going to be, so could you just in your own words just sum up what this 3 days is going to be?
Well, to me, it's a celebration of the life of one of the most iconic figures that we've ever seen in this nation. And I don't have any reservations about saying he was the most iconic figure in the history of the District of Columbia. And maybe that includes the federal government also. Thank you all very much, and we look forward to you being as much a part of this over the next, beginning next Thursday and then in the several days thereafter. Thank you all very much.